In this video, I'm going to be showing you an authentic Italian Bolognese sauce that was taught to me when I was a chef by a 90-year-old Italian Nonna. It's amazing. I've not changed it one single bit, so please stick around and join me as I make it. First of all, 2 tablespoons of olive oil into the hot saucepan. In next is a cup of chopped up onions. Mixing those around into the oil. For reference, it's about 3/4 heat on my large burner. It's been about a minute, so I'm going to add my celery. Just giving that a stir in. Then it's 1 cup of diced carrots. Instead of ground pork or pork mince, she'd use pancetta, and she'd dice up pancetta. I don't have pancetta, so I'm going to use bacon. And what I've done is I've got a shortcut bacon, but I've made sure that I've actually used pieces with the fat and kept the fat in there and diced that up. That's going to be flavour, so that goes in next. You might be able to hear the sizzle of the bacon. So what's happening there is I'm trying to render down that fat and get the fat out of the bacon pieces, which is going to add flavour to the dish. With the bacon, I've cut it really small because I don't want big chunks, noticeable chunks in the end dish. It's not about the bacon, but it is there to enhance flavour. Also, I don't want the bacon to go crispy. I don't want that texture of crispy, hard bacon in this. So when doing this, be careful that you render down the fat and you cook the bacon, but you don't crispen it up and make it crunchy. In goes the garlic. So I'd recommend 3 to 4 cloves of garlic. Alright, I've got a whole bunch of flavours there. So I've got half a cup of wine, and I'm going to add half of that now. Give that a stir. Oh, that's fantastic. I'm just lifting the flavours off the bottom of the saucepan. Now, you don't have to use wine. This is a red wine, an Australian red wine. If you'd like to, you can add maybe a little bit of beef stock or a tomato juice, but wine you do not have to use, but it certainly enhances the flavour if you are accepting of having wine in your dishes. Now that the wine has reduced down, it's time to add the beef. Just break that beef up and get it mixed in there. My chopping tool. So I'm just going to go around the saucepan, just separating that mince up, breaking up the really big lumps. It does a great job of breaking up the mince. And of course, there's a link to these in the description. I just had to say it. It does actually help my channel out when people buy through my links. Thank you. That's looking fantastic. So what's really important now is to draw out the flavours. So I'm going to let this cook for a while, probably maybe 5 minutes on a nice high heat, not too much that I'm going to burn it. And what I want to do is I want to colour that beef and get some flavour out of it, and it's just going to give you so much good flavour along with the wine and the other ingredients that's in there. You'll see that there's no reason at all to be using a beef stock or any kind of stock at all, because the flavours in this are enough to just be absolutely delightful. It really is incredible. The difference is amazing, and I really do recommend, if you can, take your time with the ground beef and try and draw out those flavours. It's been about 5 minutes, and I've really drawn out the flavour and browned off that ground beef. So now it's time to add 4 teaspoons of tomato paste. And I need to stir that in and also get that cooked out. So we'll just get it in there and stir it around using the back of the spoon just to initially squash it down and mix it in. And then I'm just stirring that in now and making sure that's spread all the way through the beef. Now I've still got a high heat here, so I've got to be careful that this doesn't burn. So I've now got that tomato paste in there cooking out, and it's looking pretty good. So I'm going to put in the remainder of that half cup of red wine. That's looking fantastic, so it's time for the tomatoes. 2 cups of homegrown tomatoes, San Marzano tomatoes, Italian tomatoes of course. As you can see, the tomatoes have just been diced. I didn't chop them too small, but just enough that you can see them now, but over time they're going to break down anyway. Okay, seasoning. I've got half a teaspoon of salt and 1/8 of a teaspoon of cracked black pepper. I'll pop that in now. We'll check seasoning at the very end, and if we have to, we can adjust it with a little bit of salt at the end. But for now, this should be quite fine. To have the most flavoursome sauce, you really want this to cook as long as you can, a good couple of hours at least. So what I do now is I'm going to add a cup of water, like so. Now of course that water is going to dilute the flavour, but what happens here is what I'm doing is using the boiling hot water as a cooking agent. It's going to help cook all the ingredients in that extreme heat, and then of course without a lid I'm going to let it slowly boil and evaporate, and that liquid is going to evaporate and the flavours are going to stay in the pot, and ultimately it's going to be a delicious, rich, beautifully tasty sauce. Okay, so I'm just going to turn that down to low, but this is spluttering a little bit and it's making a bit of a mess in the kitchen. So I'm just going to pop the lid on, but have it ajar so the steam can still escape out one side, and I won't have such a mess to clean up later on, hopefully. It's been 1 hour and 3/4 and this is totally ready. This is an optional extra. This is a teaspoon of brown sugar. Now the lady said to me all those years ago that her friends didn't agree with her, but she puts the brown sugar in because it just takes a bit of a, I guess, a kick of acidity out of the sauce and gives it a slight sweetness, but not too much. I do it, and I have to admit I agree with her 100%. So 1 teaspoon of brown sugar at the very end. I don't put it in earlier because I don't want a chance of the extra sugar actually helping the dish to burn. Alright, so now this is ready for serving, but we need to taste it and see if it's okay for seasoning. Oh my gosh, that is insane. I really wish you could try this. It is so strong in flavour. Alright, time to turn it off and mix it with my pasta. So this is the original pot that I've boiled the pasta in. The pasta is now straining in the sink. So what we do is we put the pot on the stove, turn it on. Then what we do is we get the meat sauce, and we put some meat sauce onto the bottom of the dish first. On the bottom like that. Then we bring in the pasta. And then we get the remainder of the sauce and put that on top. With a pair of tongs, we toss that pasta in the sauce, just turning the heat down to a medium heat. That's about half a cup of the pasta water. And there we go. That is my fettuccine, homemade fettuccine with a beautiful Bolognese sauce. Let's dish it up and have a try. It's clearly not a dish that is for someone that's in a hurry, but really, if you have a special meal coming up, an event, or you have guests and you really want to make them happy, you have to try this. It is incredible. It's such a wonderful recipe, and it really is simple. It's just waiting and just being patient, and then the reward in the end is just fantastic. I'm lost for words. I don't know what else to say. It's just that good. It really is. You can click on this video on the screen right now. It's going to take you to another one of my videos. I thank you so much for being here, and I will see you in the next video. Bye for now.